It all began with sirens, not the kind that blare through city streets in action movies, but the soft, chilling kind that make the hairs on your neck rise. 2 police officers stood at my doorstep, their posture rigid, eyes alert. One kept his hand near his belt. The other delivered a sentence that would forever etch itself into my memory. "Sir, we found a child alone in your vehicle. We need you to come with us." I blinked, still half lost in the haze of early morning and the bitterness of my coffee. My lips parted, but for a moment, no sound came out. Eventually, I managed a reply, my voice flat and empty. "I don't have a child." Their expressions shifted, confusion, skepticism. But before I could explain, they had already clasped the cuffs around my wrists. I didn't resist. A part of me, the part still fractured from long ago, wondered if maybe I had lost my grip on reality. Maybe this was a natural end to a slow unraveling that had started years earlier. 2 years ago, my world collapsed in silence. No slam doors, no shouting matches, no cinematic destruction. Just a phone left carelessly unlocked. A string of messages, filled with laughter that wasn't meant for me. Images of places I'd never visited. Smiles I hadn't witnessed. Her face in those photos looked different, youthful, hungry. And in that moment, I knew I had never been enough for her. Something in me died that day, not with a cry, but like a wounded animal crawling into the dark, knowing no one would come. We had been each other's first, high school sweethearts. I thought that meant something, that it carried weight. But all it meant was that I stayed up holding her hair when she was sick, that I built a shelf in the middle of the night, that I set my ambitions aside so Hayes could flourish. I gave away pieces of myself like they were spare coins, believing love meant giving until it hurt. But she never hurt. Not once. I taught myself to smile through numbness, to say I'm fine when I was anything but. Because that's what men do, right? We're the foundation, the safe place, the unmovable pillar, even if holding everyone up means collapsing inside. And the truth? I saw the signs. The phone flip screen down. The cold side of the bed growing colder. The way her touch felt like a routine, like she was clocking out for the day. I didn't say anything. I needed her presence more than I needed my own wholeness. A month before I left, the full truth came to light. Her affair wasn't faceless. I saw the tattoo on his wrist, an old clock, a painful metaphor, time wasted, a cruel badge of everything I'd lost. I didn't shout. I didn't break. I simply watched, listened, and began to plan. I hired an attorney, moved money discreetly, changed beneficiaries, cut the financial ties that bound us together. I learned how to leave a marriage long, before I actually walked away. When I finally filed, she looked at me as though I had wounded her, as if I had been the one to betray something sacred. That look pierced deeper than all her secrets combined. She played the victim in a story she had authored from the start. No arguments. No final pleas. I walked away, leaving her alone in that house, a place now filled with silence, memories, and a mortgage I no longer paid. So why, 2 years later, was I suddenly being accused of abandoning a child that was never mine? They brought me to the station, sat me under a dim, flickering light. A young detective, visibly uneasy, told me the boy had spoken my name. He'd called me Dad. That single word hit harder than any punch. My chest didn't just hurt. It caved in. Somewhere deep inside me, that word still lived. Not in the open, but buried, flickering like a forgotten ember. Then they showed me his photo, a little boy with wide, searching eyes and a head full of curls. For a second, I believed he could have been mine. Maybe not by blood, but by something just as binding. Choice. That's when it clicked. She must have used my last name when he was born. She never updated it after the divorce. Maybe it made hospital forms easier. Or maybe she simply liked the way it sounded more than her own. She had someone new now, an inconsistent shadow who drifted in and out of her life. The night before, she had left her son in his car while she went into a nightclub. The man, panicking when the boy wouldn't stop crying, drove him straight to my old house. He parked outside, placed the child in my car, and vanished. The police, unaware of the full story, did what they thought was right. The boy didn't know any better. I was the only dad he'd ever heard about. Eventually, they let me go. Embarrassed apologies followed. Red-faced officers tripping over their own guilt, trying to clean up the mess. But I didn't care about their clumsy damage control. My focus was on that child. That night, I sat alone in my dark living room, a glass of whiskey warm in my hand. I thought about everything I'd lost trying to be a man in a world that rarely pauses to ask if you're okay. It only asks for your output, your usefulness. I could have turned my back, let the storm she created finally collapse around her. But I kept seeing his eyes, and I remember what it felt like to be small, scared, and left behind, waiting for someone who never came. So I did something I never imagined I would. I filed for emergency guardianship. I knew she'd fight me, and she did, with flair, rage, and melodrama. But I came armed with evidence, reports, witness accounts, dates, records, receipts, both literal and symbolic. When we faced each other in court, I saw the fear in her eyes, not for the child, but for the truth. Her new partner never showed. Her own mother remained silent. And when the judge ruled in my favor, granting me temporary custody, I didn't celebrate. I just exhaled, for the first time in years. Not for myself, for him. Now, when he calls me Dad, it's not hesitant like before. The fear is gone. There's warmth in it now. Trust. It feels real. I'll never be perfect, but I'm present. I listen. I choose to break the patterns I came from, even when it hurts. She reaches out now and then, but not for him. Never for him. Just for me. Maybe it's guilt. Maybe loneliness. Or maybe she just wants to see if she still holds any part of who I was. But she doesn't. That version of me, the quiet, shattered man clinging to hope, disappeared without a sound. The man I am now was forged from pain, rebuilt from ashes. I'm not the man she abandoned. I'm the one who rose. And because of that boy, the one she walked away from, I'm no longer just surviving. I'm becoming.